Hey everybody, Kevin here once again from the My Song a Day Rock 2000 Today YouTube channel. I started this project about 2 years ago when I first got the idea, and since then I have discovered so many new bands that I had not discovered beforehand and have really gotten to like and love some of these bands. Today, I'm going to be focusing on the top 5 bands that I have come to love since starting the My Song a Day Rock 2000 Today project. Since starting this project, I have come to listen to so many bands that I've liked and some that I've absolutely come to love. Now, I've been exposed to so many different things and have jumped even further into genres and subgenres, much like punk rock, that I've absolutely loved before and have gotten to know them even more. And there are some subgenres, such as metalcore, that I really didn't care for at the beginning of the project. However, metalcore is one of my favorite genres to date, and I'm always going to live shows. So my horizons have been broadened and expanded, and I've been so excited over it for the past 2 years that I have to make a video talking about the bands I've absolutely loved because of it. Alright, so I have 2 major provisions before jumping into the top 5. Now, one thing is I cannot have liked or loved the band before March 2018. So if I did like the band or I've been, really strong connection with them, I can't put them on this list. So there's going to be no Rise Against, because Rise Against has been my favorite band since I was 14. Disturbed won't be on here. Breaking Benjamin won't be on here. None of the sorts. I have to have started liking them after 2018. Now, another provision is I could have known about the band and heard the band plenty of times before March 2018. But if I didn't care for them at all beforehand, but now I absolutely love the band, I love listening to their sound, they can make it on this list. So those are pretty much the 2 provisions I have. So let's get going in with number 5. Coming in number 5 is Saint Asonia, and I first discovered this band back right at the beginning when I got the idea for the project back in March of 2018, and that is because I've always loved 3 Days Grace as a band. I remember listening to their music back playing NASCAR Thunder 2004 when 2 songs off their initial album with Just Like You and I Hate Everything About You were always playing, and I couldn't get enough of those songs, and I fell in love with the band that way. Then I was starting to research some stuff, and I'm like, whatever happened to Adam Gontier? Because after 3 Days Grace released Outsider, you can easily tell that wasn't Adam Gontier's voice. Let's be real with that. So I searched up and saw he started this band called Saint Asonia, and I listened to their debut album, which came out back in 2015. And to me, it sounded like this was 3 Days Grace 2.0. You could tell that all the creativeness from 3 Days Grace in their first 4 albums was all due to Adam Gontier. The sound was very identical. The sound was, basically molded in Adam Gontier's image. You can tell there's subtle differences between the 3 Days Grace sound and the Saint Asonia sound, but you can tell that the core for their sound was Adam Gontier, and I absolutely love the fact that Adam Gontier was back doing this with that hard rock style, and then I got to hear it once again and basically still get new music from Adam Gontier, which floored me. Since starting the project, they have released their Flawed Design album, which came out in October of 2019. Since then, I put this album on heavy rotation because I was very excited for this album. I was waiting for it to come out. I couldn't wait to see what it was going to be like, and I had to do a review on it. I did a full review on it, and I absolutely loved the album because you had that classic Adam Gontier sound on songs like The Hunted, on songs like Beast. And then you had some songs like This August Day where Adam Gontier went really deep in the emotional aspect of it, talking about his life, talking about his struggle for sobriety, and talking about how he was in rehab when his son was born. And that was a huge trope we saw in 2019 with many bands where they talked very openly about their experiences through life, through struggle. As I Lay Dying did it, Sleeping with Sirens did it, Adam Gontier and Saint Asonia did it as well. You also got a great song like Sirens, which ended up being put as my number 4 song of the year, that featured Sharon Denadel of Within Temptation. Just hearing the harmonization between Sharon Denadel and Adam Gontier, how it mixed together, was perfect. Flawed Design ended up at number 4 on my top albums of 2019, and that album artwork is sick. Looking ahead at Saint Asonia, the 2 things I'm looking forward to is the fact that I don't want to wait another 4 years for them to release an album, because Adam Gontier is a great musician, great songwriter, and I want to hear more from him. And I also want to see them live, as I got to see Alter Bridge live already, which is my number 1 album of the year. As I Lay Dying, I get to see them live with my number 2 album of the year, Shaped by Fire, in June. I already saw Skillet once this year with my number 3 album, Victorious. And no, I'm waiting for number 4, and I finally get it. I get to see them on August 7th, 2020 here in Milwaukee as they open for Breaking Benjamin. So I get to see Adam Gontier perform live for the first time. I'm excited about it. So yeah. Coming in number 4 is A Day to Remember, and this is the only band that was on that second trope where I've heard them before March of 2018, but I didn't really like them. So let me go into the reasons why. When I first heard them, was first introduced to them, this was back in 2016 as my ex-girlfriend. This was one of her favorite bands. And listening to it, I love when they did like the pop punk style stuff, but I really didn't get any like the metalcore style stuff because at that point, I really wasn't into the unclean vocals. I really never gave them a chance. I listened to a little bit of stuff off What Separates Me From You and liked it a little bit, but then this girl and I, we broke up and it pretty much destroyed me mentally. I've talked about it a whole lot and how music has ended up shaping that and how that mental anguish ended up being the thing that ended up, driving me to create my song They Rock 2000 to today. But the fact of the matter was when I was going through all that, A Day to Remember was something I pushed way back, not want to listen to, basically kind of just did not want to even associate myself with the band, basically because it brought back a lot of memories that I really didn't want to have to deal with, the emotions at the time. So they're a band I was like, no. So March 2018 hits, and that's when things start kind of picking up on this one. And of course, I know I'm going to have to end up featuring A Day to Remember because a lot of people like them. I end up jumping back further into the What Separates Me From You album because a lot of the songs on there, such as Better Off This Way, All I Want, and my favorite, It's Complicated, they really don't go full in on the unclean vocals. They really keep it rather clean and kind of go with more of that like pop punk, but also very hard rock metal style. And I really did start to enjoy that, but I didn't really jump into anything else going on. And as the depression started to wear off on me and just kind of me, going further into this, I started to peek into a little bit of their other stuff, especially Homesick, hearing I Made a Wax Layer, What Are You Made Of? And the pop punk style just from the beginning, I was into it. And then, of course, with me getting into more metalcore, getting into that harder style and that unclean vocals, this was a mix that I was absolutely for. And as I kept going on and on and on about it, their mix of metalcore and pop punk just really works out well together because not many bands have done that or really did do it. A Day to Remember was kind of the pioneers of that. And look at where it's got them. This was absolutely fantastic. I started really enjoying Homesick, enjoying Right Back at It Again off their Common Courtesy album. I mean, I was getting more and more involved with this. One thing that cemented the band's place on this list for me was seeing them live in 2019 in Minneapolis when they had Beartooth and I Prevail opening for them. Because when I got to see them live, I always knew about the crazy crowd that they had, and they did not disappoint. There were mosh pits everywhere. They did a giant circle pit around the sound booth at the Armory. It was insane. I saw the crowd surfing the crowd surfer. There's videos of it on our Instagram page. I really wish I had done that, but my friends were scattered around somewhere. I ended up in the front row anyway, so I didn't want to lose my stuff or my place. Plus, they really can't crowd surf the crowd surf in the front row. The toilet paper wars, all the confetti. I mean, everything about it. That show was absolutely amazing. Everyone was enthralled with it. The energy was so high. Even Beartooth helped out with that opening up for me because Beartooth puts on a crazy amount of energy. But it was something that I just really felt enthralled with. And I absolutely love the band now going forward. Looking ahead, they were supposed to release their album, You're Welcome, on November 15th, 2019. I was all ready to cover it. However, delays have happened. That album has not been released as the shooting of this video. So we're still waiting on it. We'll see what happens. But I'm excited for that one because, well, my first A Day to Remember review. So, woo! Coming in at number 3, I have Falling in Reverse. Now, when I first discovered the band, this was right before I launched the whole entire project in August 2019. This was about July of 2018 when I first saw this. Again, I had really no exposure to Falling in Reverse at this point because when I was in high school, when they were really starting to pop off with the Drug and Me Is You album, I was so into Rise Against that I was not really looking anywhere else at that point. But then I heard Losing My Life and Losing My Mind from Falling in Reverse, which was released in 2018. And I gotta say, I was rather intrigued by him, mostly Losing My Mind because a lot of that, like the metalcore and mixing that rap in there kind of really worked, honestly. Like that new metalcore, as they're kind of calling it. Ronnie Radke did a great job in those songs. And after all this, I'm like, I gotta dive deeper into this. Now, after losing my life and losing my mind, I decided to go deeper into the older Falling in Reverse stuff. Now, I knew, of course, about Ronnie Radke with Escape the Fate, because who doesn't know that situations are irrelevant now? So I decided, let's keep going in. I went to the Drug in Me Is You album, and I gotta admit, there are some songs I really do like on there, like Raised by Wolves. I love how it's basically like if Escape the Fate made a second album with Ronnie Radke, that's what they would have gone with. I'm Not a Vampire is just a fun song to listen to. The Drug in Me Is You is great as well. You gotta listen to The Drug in Me Is Reimagined. It's fantastic. Listen to the Fashionably Late album. It is very catchy with songs like Bad Girls Club and Fashionably Late, and of course, It's Over When It's Over. But that really wasn't for me. It just seemed a little bit more, poppy out there. I was like, yeah, that really wasn't something that I was really into. Their third album, Just Like You, I gotta say, Just Like You, that song is freaking catchy, and I can't get enough of it. I absolutely love that song, but not really much off the album. I didn't really listen to Coming Home at all, so that's really kind of on the back burner for me. But then 2019 happened. So it's April 2019, and I see that Falling in Reverse releases this song called Drugs, and I gotta jump into it right away. And they release this like psychedelic metalcore song in the intro, and all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, this is definitely different. This is insane. Ronnie starts rapping again with kind of like this Eminem quick style rap in the first verse. I was like, okay, this is definitely something we're getting into. I love the transitions in between everything, and then all of a sudden you get the bridge and the breakdown. You get this Corey Taylor feature out of nowhere that just turns the song up to 11. The transition works out incredibly well, and it's just hard. The beauty of the song is it's just constructed beautifully, and I was listening, I'm like, I was intrigued. I couldn't stop listening to it. I had to keep it up, listen to it 3-4 times, and I'm like, this is a great song. I was gonna put it on my list for the top 10 songs of 2019, but I was gonna put it low at like number 10. That was until November. So November comes, it's November 20th, and I see that Falling in Reverse releases a new song called Popular Monster. Of course, I gotta listen to it because I'm like, well, let's listen to it, let's see what happens. I watched the YouTube video at work, and my first reaction after watching that was, what in the actual hell did I listen to? And how is this the first time anyone has tried something like this? I mean, just the way it was done. It was beautifully constructed. The verses, the raps that were in there, I mean, they were slow builds and they had this dark, sinister sound to them. And as they built it, this kept getting a little bit more angrier, harder and harder. Then you go to a transition into a chorus as a more emo and post-hardcore style, which, of course, I was there for everything. The first verse after the first chorus as well, I'm like, this is a great build. I want to see him build on it. The second verse goes harder than the first verse. I'm like, okay, let's keep going. Then you get the chorus. I'm like, this is beautiful. I want more. Give me something more. And then you go from this emo post-hardcore chorus to this insane metalcore bridge and breakdown that is absolutely nuts. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. We're hearing that Where the Is Your God Now? Yes, I believed it for the kids out there. I just completely lost. I'm like, this is insane. This is great. In the final chorus, when you hear the We're Falling Apart and it's much more drawn out and agonizing, it is absolutely beautiful. I couldn't stop playing this song over and over and over again. It has been daily listening for me since I first heard it. It was my favorite song from 2019. I believe the best song from 2019, and I have no trouble about it. Ronnie Radke is definitely at the top of his game, and then releasing The Drug in Me Is Reimagined right after this. Yeah, he's definitely at the top of his game right now. Before the making of this video, I actually got to see Falling in Reverse perform live in Madison, Wisconsin. Now, this was insane because they were having The Word Alive and Escape the Fate open for him on the Drug in Me Is Gold tour. Then all of a sudden, here comes out Ronnie Radke and Falling in Reverse. They do the whole entire Drug in Me Is You album in reverse. Also, Ronnie is sick at this point. They had to cancel the show the previous night because of it. But Ronnie comes out, performs like a champ, goes in back, everyone's waiting. All of a sudden, you hear the intro to Popular Monster, and I'm excited. Right before the bridge hits, I get hit with a flying elbow to the face. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I was so mad because I want to be part of the Wall of Death for the Where the Is Your God Now part. My nose didn't break, wasn't bleeding. I went right into it, and I was so happy. Then he went into drugs. Then he was going to say he was going to do situations. Then he said he was just an asshole for, teasing it. Then they played Just Like You. I thought it was a fitting end. I loved the show. I absolutely thought it was amazing. Looking forward for Falling in Reverse, I'm very curious to see where they go from here for another album, because I've seen what they've done with the transition, like with Losing My Life, Losing My Mind, Drugs, and Popular Monster. Doing The Drug in Me is reimagined. I'm very curious to see what Ronnie Radke comes up with, maybe in 2020, maybe in 2021, but when he does, I'm here for the album review, and I can't wait. Coming in number 2, I have Motionless in White, and this is a big one for me, but the fact they're coming in number 2 means there's one other above them, but yeah, we'll get to that later. So I wrote this back in January 2019. Friend of the podcast, the YouTube channel, the Instagram page, name's Evie, said, hey, you gotta listen to one of my favorite bands. They're called Motionless in White. And I said, okay, I'll go take a listen to them. And I went to Spotify. The top song on there, remember this is January 2019, this is before Disguise came out. Top song is a song called Voices. I listened to it, and there's not really that many unclean vocals there. It's rougher, but I'm like, this is interesting. The next song is Eternally Yours, and I gotta say, Eternally Yours is probably one of my top 10 favorite songs of all time. I mean, I was hooked right after I heard it. One of the biggest reasons why Motionless in White is on this list is because they were the intro to me liking the metalcore and that like gothic genre as well. Because Motionless in White is a band that really evolves around that, and they were the ones that got me into it. I mean, listening to Voices kind of brought me in. Eternally Yours, just the beautiful construction and the amazing vocals from Chris Motionless, and that one really brought me in there. But then it also opened my eyes to a couple of different genres. It opened my eyes to more of that like gothic style, has a little more darker, sinister tone to it. And I've seen that from other bands, like In This Moment, Lacuna Coil, or bands that people have told me about where I'm like, they kind of have that gothic sense to them and have brought me in. And then, of course, metalcore. Now, I have heard metalcore before. I have saw a show with Killswitch Engage before I even, started this project. However, this was the one that really jumped me into it as I was going through Graveyard Shift, Reincarnate, Creatures, and Infamous. I couldn't get enough of it. And I just kept going and going and going and going and going with it to the point where I'm like, Motionless in White is something that I just really latched onto, and it really broadened my horizons when it came to metalcore. So after their discovery, I saw them live for the first time in April 2019 in Madison, Wisconsin, when they were on a co-headlining tour with Atreyu. I bought tickets right away. I went there, and the two things that really stuck out in my mind was the energy that the band and the crowd fed off each other with, because the crowd was all hyped up for Motionless in White. Chris Motionless was up there going absolutely nuts the whole entire time, and just the energy going back and forth was amazing. And then Eternally Yours, they end with that song, and Chris is throwing roses out into the crowd. I was like, this is definitely something. I did get knocked on my ass a couple of times in the pit. I think I gave a kid a concussion as well. So I was pretty happy. So I'm like, I'm loving this. And then here comes Disguise. So now Disguise comes out in early June of 2019. I did an album review on it, and what I really liked about that album was how they took all their different styles that they have had on their albums and their influences throughout their career and put them all in this album so you can kind of get that feel for it as more of like a, this is who we are album. Take a look at a song like Disguise. That song's like, it could be off of Graveyard Shift. Headache sounds like it should be off the Reincarnate album. Thoughts and Prayers is just straight up in your face metalcore that could be easily off of Creatures. Listen to a song like Code. If Chester Bennington was still alive and was singing on that track, you would think it's Linkin Park. Take a look at, when they're talking even deeper with their content, like personal relationships on Another Life. It was something that's absolutely beautiful. And then with that more of that punk rock style and Brand New Numb. Now, this album wasn't my favorite from the year. I believe I put it at number 5 though. So that is still pretty dang good. And I really did enjoy it. It wasn't as good as something like, I thought Walk the Sky from Alter Bridge was, but that was my favorite album of the year. However, Motionless in White did not disappoint at that at all. And I was still enthralled to see them one more time in 2019. Seeing them live for the second time in 2019 was something of insanity. They're on their Trick or Treat tour right before Halloween with After the Burial. And yeah, that's my infamous getting cut in the pit story, because I fell down during the last song of After the Burial As I was getting picked up, someone went head first into me, and I had this huge cut above my eye, ran to the bathroom, got a bunch of paper towel. The girl that I saw the show with, she ripped up a piece of her flannel. I tied her on my head. I looked like a pirate, and it was awesome. The energy of that crowd from After Burial was absolutely insane. And I stood on the edge of the pit the rest of the night because I wanted to jump back in there, but, you know, don't want to bleed over everybody. All of a sudden, here comes Motionless in White. The set is amazing, especially for Halloween around that time. And the band comes out with more energy than I saw from anybody else that year. More than Ice Nine Kills, more than Beartooth, more than Day to Remember, and more than the first time I saw them. The feeding off of it was insane. Everyone was singing every single song from anything that was new, from Abigail to Immaculate Misconception to when they played Eternally Yours at the end. People were just going nuts the whole entire time. I couldn't believe it. Just the energy was amazing. Even for me not being in the pit, for everything that happened, that was my favorite concert from the year. Looking ahead, I do hope to see Motionless in White at least once in 2020. I probably am going to be doing it towards the end of the year, looking at their tour schedule as I make this video. But you know what? Their concerts are so much fun to be at. I really want to see them live once again. And guys, I'm not going to stop listening to them. I'm just not. All right, guys, time for the honorable mentions. Before I get to number one, which if you guys have paid attention to a lot of the stuff that's been going on lately, you probably can guess who I'm going to go with. But here are a couple of bands that, you know, I have really come to like over the past 2 years that I've discovered, but just didn't make the list. So you're going to see them now. Okay, guys, time for the reveal for number one. I'm wearing a sweatshirt for the reason because... Did you expect any less from me? So obviously, you guys know my number one pick is Ice Nine Kills for my favorite band since starting My Song Day Rock 2008 that I've discovered since then. So I first discovered them actually in April of 2019 when they had the whole entire Disney fiasco. They were on tour with Falling in Reverse, and they're supposed to play a show at the House of Blues in Orlando, Florida. It's on the Disney Springs property, and Disney banned them and actually would not let them perform there because they said they were too scary for children. What? So, of course, Ice Nine Kills takes full stride, and they make merch off of this by taking Goofy, Donald, and Mickey Mouse and turning them into horror movie characters and making merch off of it. To much of interview I saw with Spencer Charles, much of their surprise, Disney didn't even sue them for it. Like, they just let it go, which is really surprising, but hey, I guess it works. As September rolled around, I saw they're going to be playing at the rave here in Milwaukee 2 days after Halloween. I knew tickets were going to sell out right away because, well, it seemed pretty popular. Plus, Light the Torch was playing as well. And I decided to buy one right away without even listening to their music at this point. I just went for it. Then I decided to listen to some of their music, and the first thing I listened to was Stabbing in the Dark off the Silver Scream album. The absolute intensity of it enthralled me, and I featured as a Song of the Day feature. Then right before Halloween, I featured another song of theirs as a Song of the Day feature because, you know, Ice Nine Kills Halloween, it makes sense, and I featured A Grave Mistake, and God, is that song beautiful. Everything changed when I saw them live. So I saw Ice Nine Kills live on November 2nd, 2019. I did not want to go to the show that day because I had worked a bunch of overtime that week. I had to work a full day on that Saturday, and I just didn't want to go. But my mom's like, "You've been looking so forward to the show. You go. And I'm like, okay, Mom knows best. Thank you, Mom. Okay, so I get to the show. Light the Torch was fun. I got to see Howard Jones perform. Fit for a King just kept the pit just going hard. And all of a sudden, here comes Ice Nine Kills. And what I remember about this show was it didn't matter where you were on the floor. It didn't matter where you were. You were going to have a great time regardless. The inside the pit where I was for a good majority of it, it was so much fun because the music just perfectly encapsulates everything that the pit needs. When you're listening to The American Nightmare, when you're listening to Thank God It's Friday, Stabbing in the Dark, it just fits so well. Or you could be on the edge of the pit as well, also getting pushed around too, but you're going to love the fact of the energy. Or you could just be kind of off to the side and watching the performance just happen because all the horror movie stuff and everything with horror base. My God, was it amazing. Ice Nine Kills played for almost 2 hours. They played 19 songs. They played almost every single song off the silver screen with the exception of Enjoy Your Slay and Freak Flag. They played 5 songs off of every trick in the book. And they played The Fastest Way to a Girl's Heart is Through Her Ribcage. When they ended it with It Is the End and Here Comes Spencer Charnas out in the full clown makeup, that was something amazing. As I left the show, all I could be thinking about was, I have to listen to this whole album again and again and again. So after the show, first thing was I deep dived into the Silver Scream album, and I just kept listening to it every step of the way, seeing what horror movies they were basing each song off of. And I gotta say, I just kept listening to it over and over and over again. I couldn't stop because it was just so good. Every single song really encapsulates what that horror movie felt like in a song. So if you watch A Nightmare on Elm Street, you're trying to find a song that really encapsulates the feel of it, The American Nightmare is perfect for it. The other 3 that really stand out in this one are Stab in the Dark, that follows around with Halloween, A Grave Mistake, follows around with The Crow, and the best one of all is It Is the End, which follows around Stephen King's It with Pennywise the Clown. And the fact that they brought in the guys from Less Than Jake to bring in the horns, I mean, it was such an experimental move, but it worked out so well. I've listened to this album pretty much every day since. It's been a workout playlist since I first heard it back in November. And I gotta say, this is probably my second favorite album of all time as a Silver Scream. I jumped into every trick in the book as well, and I didn't like it as much as the Silver Scream, but that's because there's only one other album I liked more than the Silver Scream. I mean, I loved every trick in the book. I love Nature of the Beast. I love Community of the Curse. Hell in the Hallways I'm okay with. Me, Myself, and Hyde is a fantastic song, and Testimony is beautiful. So I've jumped so far into their music that I listen to it all the time. I will come out with a list of my top 10 favorite bands of all time, update for 2020. You guys can bet that Ice Nine Kills is going to be on the list, and they're going to be up there high. I absolutely love listening to this band. Listen to them all the time, no matter if it's super nice outside, super gloomy, whether it's spring, summer, fall, winter, Halloween time, not Halloween time. Hell, it's blasting them on Christmas. I mean, it was fun. Plus, their merch is amazing. I mean, come on. This is awesome. Looking ahead for Ice Nine Kills, I'm expecting a new album sometime either maybe late this year or 2021, maybe 2022. I am curious about this one because the band has been reconstructed since the Silver Scream, with Justin Morrow leaving for Motionless in White and JD moving on to be more of like a producer side of things. I know he's on hiatus, but who knows when he's going to come back or not, as he was recently producing the latest Motionless in White album. Now, the band has been constructed with a couple other members, but of course the core member is there with Spencer Charnas, and the core creative is there with Spencer Charnas. I'm very curious to see when they went from every song was about a piece of literature with every trick in the book to every song about a horror movie with the Silver Scream. What are they going to go with next? My call is serial killers, but that's just me. I'm curious to see how that's going to sound, but then again, it's Spencer Charnas. This is going to be awesome. I really hope to see them at least one time in 2020, because seeing them do a headlining show and do 19 songs played for almost 2 hours was absolutely incredible, and I'd love to see that set. Overall, no band has encapsulated me more than Ice Nine Kills has. No band has enthralled me as much as Ice Nine Kills has since I started this project. They are very high on my list. I listen to them every single day. And I mean, my God, this band is fantastic. All right, guys, that's it for me. Thank you for watching my list of the top 5 bands I have begun to like since starting the My Song Day Rock 2000 Day project. That was about 2 years ago when we first started this. Well, got the idea for it. So thank you guys for watching it. If you like the bands I picked, give me a like. If you dislike it, give me a dislike. But put in the comments why you like or dislike it and what you think of my assessment. So yeah, if you like the video and want to subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified and release videos every single Wednesday, and the special podcast Tuesday ones. Anytime some special ones come out too, you can watch those as well. You get the notification. Let's get those out of here. And please follow us on all of our social media pages, such as Facebook. Anytime anything comes out on Facebook, anything with the podcast, anything with the YouTube video, the 30-second song of the day, preview, boom, Facebook. Twitter, same thing, but it's very easy to talk to us on Twitter, so go tweet at us. Instagram is our most popular platform, because we do the 30-second song a day features. You get notified anytime a podcast episode gets released, some YouTube video gets released, but we also ask you a bunch of questions, and we have 2 very special things on there, which is our IGTV videos, which is behind the scenes look at what's going on here, and our Instagram live streams every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central, where you can talk to us for an hour. We have a whole lot of fun, so join us there. TikTok as well for some fun stuff. Links in the description below for all this stuff. Let's get that out of here. Talk about the Chord Progression Podcast. It is our very own podcast, and we've changed it up a bit. And you guys probably know how we've changed it up, because it used to be a lot of me talking about a lot of stuff going on in music, but now we're interviewing many more bands and people. So I've interviewed bands such as Amongst the Giants, GFM, Kingdom Collapse, bands that are emerging, are going to be the big bands going forward. Zume, Kill the Blonde, also up there as well. We've also interviewed some of the followers as well, and my friends as well, because we just get into some great banter, and it's great podcast material for you guys to listen to understand, how everyone's feeling about certain albums and getting to know with some of these emerging bands. So find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and watch us right here on our YouTube channel as well. So let's get that out of here. And if you're not able to, our Amazon Alexa skill, go and do that right now, because that is where you're going to hear the whole entire song of the day feature every single day. This is a great way to get the day going, end the day, discover old music that you used to love, rediscover it, discover new music that you're going to love, and enjoy our small band Saturday feature, where those small bands that are trying to be up and coming and maybe the next big thing, you can listen to them first right here. So go enable that, because it's a great way to expand your knowledge of rock music and appreciation of rock, metal, and all their subgenres. And I want to thank you guys for watching this video. This was one of my favorite ones to make, because I basically got to gush over 5 bands that I've really begun to like since starting this project, specifically bands like Motionless and Nice 9 Kills, of course. So thanks, guys. Till next time, this is Kevin from the My Sunday Rock 2000 Day YouTube channel. Let's get the hat flip. Well, that didn't work, but see ya!